Well, greetings, everyone, and welcome to a truly special online event today. It's called Become a Force of Healing with Wuji Hundun Qigong. Quell chaos with embodied strength, grace, and emotional resilience. My name is Stephen Dinan. I'm the founder and CEO of the Shift Network, and it is clear that we are in a very intense window collectively, and we need to be more resourced. We need to find our inner strength, our capacity to be a source of peace and harmony, even in the midst of chaos and challenge. And we're going to get to do so today with a really beautiful teacher. Her name is Daisy Lee. She's the founder and principal teacher of Radiant Lotus Qigong. And she's going to be sharing with us some really key practices and principles for how we can find a peaceful kind of strength, something that emanates in a way that settles our nervous system, that helps to be of service to the larger whole, and really makes us a force of healing in the world. So, with that said, Daisy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Stephen. It's great to be with you again
Mhm.
and to share Wuji Hundun Qigong with the students and audience. I think more than ever, this is the right time for this practice.
Mm. Well, I'm glad we're going to have this time together. And I do want to let everybody know right up front that we do have a brand new course with Daisy, all on Wuji Hundun Qigong, a force of healing for spiritual warriors that we'll share more about towards the end of the hour. So, Daisy, I want to begin with a little bit of reflection on your journey into this particular lineage and why you were drawn to it, why it's an important lineage of practice for us to really access now.
Yeah. My teacher, Master Duanzhi Liang, who was from Beijing, he was the he's legendary in some areas as this lineage holder from his family system. And when I met him, there was something just so captivating about how he walked in life. He was still childlike, he had that joyful childlike nature, but his practice he took with a level of seriousness. And it was because part of it was used as self-defense, and the other part was the healing defense, which is what I mostly teach when I teach this publicly. Master Duan was 107 years old when he passed, and he was such a great inspiration. It was the way he held space for all kinds of students from the West, from China, who came to visit him and pay homage to his techniques, but also how welcoming he was. And when I was there in Beijing, we would be invited for meals at his home as we were learning. And there was so much warmth in who he was. A level of strictness in terms of he's strict about following a certain code of conduct and morality, and that is what guides me even now. So the movements can be used for self-defense, but it is mostly for healing, and it sets up this kind of blueprint, and is a blueprint for wholeness in each of us. And so the practice brings us through this full toolkit of healing movements, meditative healing movements that open the heart and lungs, especially when someone is going through a lot of grief because of situations around us or in their family system. But also helps with when someone is trying to manage their fear. And since we are currently inundated with chaos, Hundun, Wuji Hundun, Hundun is chaos. And sometimes we can interface with it. We can't always fight it with force, but we have to cultivate courage. So it's this really fine balance of how we interface with chaos. And so it's really interesting in that way, Stephen, because in a sense, like when you see what's going on in the external world, you might want to, really, the force of that anger can make you trip up. And I'm not saying don't get angry. There's a good reason to get angry at times. But we also need to return to that balance, right? Because that's what's going to help us be more effective when we're interfacing with this external force.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, I love that overarching description. And I liked what you said about the blueprint for wholeness, and the movements are sort of almost synchronizing you with this deeper blueprint, which then that wholeness is part of how we work with chaos and quell chaos. So maybe share a little bit about why that sort of these practices entrain us in a certain kind of pattern of being that makes us literally stronger and softer and more synchronized with ourselves at the same time.
Yeah, I really appreciate those thoughts, Stephen. I think the softness and toughness, sometimes people think that softness is too soft and you can be pushed over. Or you can be too harsh and then you pay for it because, force against force goes nowhere. It actually creates blockage and stagnation in each person, but in particular ourselves. So we're doing this practice to learn how to manage our emotions, but also to release stagnations that might come from fear or anger, right? Those two strong emotions are often the ones that most impact our health. And then they can lead to depression even, because we might feel helpless or hopeless. So the system actually helps us regain that harmony and the inner peace that everyone has the ability to find within that Wuji space, what we call the emptiness. And emptiness not in terms of feeling like there's nothing there. It's emptiness in terms of that peace and calm that are kind of what we were born into, as well as joy. It's all the emotions that and the feelings of balance that upholds the world and that uphold each other when we find it within ourselves.
Mm.
So it is not out there that we're working. We of course stand up for others, but we have to work on ourselves first. Yeah, we have to find that inner peace and calm and regain our alignment with the earth and the sky. So if we lose that, we have no clarity. We lose clarity when we're in battle.
Mm. I think there's some really important key insights in there. I know that you want to also really take us through a couple of different practices today, and I think it might be great to start one off so we get into a mode of starting to practice together, then reflect a little bit more, and then practice again.
Okay, I'll do that, Stephen. I'll share a little more about the first movement, which is Jian. Jian is the sword, and it's a sword of truth, a sword of clarity. It's cutting away the things that are, blocking and that stop you from true clarity. It's all the noise around you that may be impinging on your health and your well-being. So Jian is a really interesting and I feel a very beautiful movement because it's also a healing movement. So I will begin with that now.
Beautiful.
Okay. So this movement called Jian, we first come into mid posture. Your legs can be a touch wider than hip width if it feels more comfortable. And the hands are like so. We're holding the ring finger and the pinkies back. And then these two fingers, the index and middle fingers, are called sword fingers. In fact, this hand position is used for healing as well. So in this one, the swords are placed in front of you. Yeah, and they're even throughout. They're facing the earth. And I'll just show you first and then I'll explain a little more afterwards. But it is this posture coming up with parallel fingers to the right. I'm doing a reverse image. Exhale as we come back down to center. And continue moving up the left as we inhale up. And exhale back to center. Inhale to the right. Fingers forward. Then we change. And the left hand goes on top. The right hand is on the bottom. They're still parallel. And we exhale as we cut across. Then we turn again. Now the right hand is on top. Exhale. And inhale. Now, right hand sweeps underneath. Fingertips are up while the other one is down for balance. Uncross the heart. And come back down to center. So I'll do it now just with the breath, without so much talk. And you can try and follow along as well. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale up. And now turn. Exhale. Turn. Inhale. Exhale across. Inhale on the turn. Right hand sweeps under. Inhale and exhale. Now the second time we'll do it to the left for balance. We're always talking about balance in Wuji Hundun. Inhale up. Exhale to center. Inhale up to the right. Exhale back to center. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. As you rise up to the left, turn the swords, cut across, injustice. And again, exhale, inhale, sweep under, uncross, and return to balance. So we'll do one more set just to see if you can feel the stretch of the channels. The yin channels, the heart and lungs are opening. Inhale. Exhale. Rising up. Sinking down. Rising up again. Turn, and now the left is on top. Exhale. Turn, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And slow exhale. Let's do the left. Rising to the left. Sinking to the center. Gathering strength to the right. Exhale back to center. Inhale. And now turn. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And we come back to the rest position. All right. So that is the first movement of today. There are 18 in total, but in in this session we'll only do 2, so you get familiar with some of the intentions behind a single movement.
Mm-hmm. So when you're working with a sword motion like that, I mean, and you're moving so very gracefully and very beautifully. So when I think of a sword, there's often kind of an external projection of energy. Are you also circulating energy internally in a certain way as part of that process?
Yes, you're cultivating energy within the heart and lungs especially, because the 2 fingers This is the one that leads to the pericardium, or the heart protection channel. And also you're holding back your, you're using your thumb to hold back the last two fingers. And that is meant to imply that the head can get overwhelmed, right? All the thinking, is splintered when there's too much chaos. So we hold that back, but we use the force of love and compassion to aim at resolving conflict. Yeah. We're slashing away what no longer serves our highest good or the good of the other. And over time, once people start feeling this stretch through this point, energy starts to accumulate in the hands and palms for the healing that can happen. So we actually do sometimes hands-on healing once we learn to activate these points in the fingers and hands. Yeah.
Really fascinating, because I know that a lot of times when you're doing Qigong healing work, there's like directing for healing, but the first with the sword, you're first sort of like disrupting or slicing away sort of the patterns that are kind of stuck or antagonizing, it sounds like. That's very interesting.
Yeah, very good observation, Stephen. That's exactly what's happening. Because when there is a pattern set into the body that is not healthy, it often drives into patterns of fear. Yeah, fear or anger, rage. And so if we don't break up that pattern, you have to decide what you're going to cut through. But if we don't disrupt that pattern that's circulating around your own Wei Qi field, what can happen is that the pattern sets into the tissues of the body. So no longer is it just all this frenetic energy outside, but you are being invited to come back to your center. And so that is the opportunity to always return to center, cut away all the excess, extraneous, thoughts or actions that actually hold you back. And it's not just holding you back from, the potential that you have, but it can be holding you back from that clarity that is needed. And that's why you notice that movement at the end where one set of fingers and hand is down, the other is up. So we cross through the midline, and in crossing the midline, we actually bring balance to the left and right hemispheres of the brain before we uncross and settle the energy. So, yeah, a lot to this one movement, actually.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It also helps to explain, I know you've been kind of combining this healing warrior, which a lot of times people experience those as two diametrically opposed things, but that actually makes a lot of sense the way you're describing that you are both cultivating some of the warrior sword kind of energy, but in the service of healing, and there's sort of an interesting dance between those two.
Yeah, really, it is exactly that, Stephen. What we're cultivating is courage. So it doesn't mean that we don't get hurt or that we don't experience pain. A warrior does feel, and in fact feels intensely, but knows that, in the face of injustice, we need to get up again. We need to address the injustice and have the calm clarity to do it without bloodshed or, chaos. And so it is really ironic in a sense that and that's why the spiritual warrior or the healing warrior is a different kind of person than someone who's just fighting like a mercenary, right? We are looking at a person that is cultivating their self, right? They're cultivating resilience and resolve along with that courage. And also I would add neutral compassion. So neutral compassion is this state of awareness and of awareness of being, that when when you can be in neutral, you can see all sides. Your peripheral vision opens up and you're more clear. So these exercises, you notice they go from one side to the other. You're exercising your eyes, your vision, but also opening the heart and lung points, the channel, sorry, in the front of the body. So your interface is with whole heart, offering, this clearing of untruths or injustice, you know, cutting away the emotional entanglements and seeing with clarity.
Mm.
So it broadens our perspective in cutting away all those entanglements.
I was struck by, I think you had a more multidimensional description of what neutrality means than a lot of times people think of just as just kind of being in the middle without an opinion. But it's like I heard this sort of ability to embrace a multiplicity of perspectives in a very embodied way, that it's literally opening up your vision and your embodied energy field to be in that neutral strength.
Yes, and that is part of the key is that when you're neutral, you are not taking sides. You're seeing truth. And so you you see with your eyes, but you also see with your heart. You can discern when something is misinformed. And so how we get there, Stephen, is by grounding our feet, our lower body to the earth energetically. And the upper body rises up, the top point of the head rises up to meet this star in the sky that represents our highest self. And wherever we walk in the world, we have this vertical alignment. And that gives us that neutral compassion.
Mm.
So what happens is it opens up the Wuji state of infinite possibility, right? We're not swayed by, we're not swayed by the rhetoric, right? People can convince us because we're vulnerable. Our heart is too open, and then we become gullible. But if you are in this alignment, the monkey mind doesn't get engaged. You just stay in your center and you allow that to prevail. You allow that morality, that sense of justice to settle inside your body in peace. And what that does is it creates a stable lead energy. And so people will go to that person with that stable lead energy because they're not emanating chaos. Yeah, their nervous system is intact and not feeding the disharmony. Yeah, and so we come back always to this alignment of neutral compassion and stable lead energy because we are aligned with the greater forces of the earth and the sky.
Mm. I love that. It also broadens a little bit the definition of leadership. Instead of it like a function within an organization, it's like the stable lead quality is like you are somebody people are turning to in whatever circumstances is arising. That's a deepening of, I think, a understanding of leadership.
Yeah, I love that. The deepening is necessary. And why I say that is that sometimes we have to stand our ground for the things that we know to be true and that are worth fighting for. And so I think every one of us is going through something to that degree of, seeing someone suffering and saying, no, this is not right. And we, as a collective, need to do something about it by standing up. And in Wuji Hundun Qigong, it is a peaceful kind of protest, but it starts with ourself. If we can't find that peace within ourselves, then how can we extend it to others? How can we be that stable lead energy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even the notion of protest has that sort of dichotomy of sides, whereas like what you're really offering is like a recalibration with that sort of with the lead energy, with that stable lead energy, is that that influences people because they can feel the integrity and the alignment in you.
Yeah, and I do feel that it takes some training. If you've never grown up in a family that guided you in that way, this practice of Wuji Hundun gives you that guidance. It gives you the toolkit, the movements, the mindset, the breathing that helps you to synchronize. And when you have that, there is this sense of dignity. I think that's part of what it is, that the right word for this is that dignity that comes from that inner courage.
Mm,
And it exhibits itself on an external level to others as well.
mm. I love that. I want to ask about the sort of the directing of energy to sort of disrupt patterns that need to be disrupted and sort of like break through things. And it's like, does that also then, does some of these same sword motions and some of that same intentionality also work with places in ourselves that have been gotten stagnant or blocked or diseased?
I believe, Stephen, that all of us have some stagnation. It might be hidden. And the emotions that we experience when we're in fear or enraged, they start to go inside the organs. That's the danger. They go inside the joints. And so when we do, there's a warm up that we always do where we're shaking out the joints, kind of thumping on the heels when we're standing. Even if you're not standing, but you can still shake out your arms and hands and fingers. This is important because when you are in a state of fear, it comes inwards. And rather than allowing it to stick, you have to shake it off. You have to not allow it to lodge into the tissues. So the shaking is something the animals do. All animals, after an adrenaline rush, cortisol rush from us, where we're, being attacked, being confronted, in conflict, any of those situations, if we have nowhere to go, we need to shake it off. Yeah, if you can't fight and you can't run, then you have to shake. Yeah, and that's how the animals do it in nature. And we are by nature also animals, so we need to do the same. And so that is such a simple thing, and yet it's very necessary to discharge the adrenaline dump that and the cortisol dump that causes the stress to come out so that you can fight or flee. And once that is done, the body must return to this homeostasis that brings us back to balance.
Is that shaking sort of a more rapid process, or is it also slower and more intentional, like most Qigong movements?
This is interesting that you would ask that, because in most Qigong, and especially for those that have joint issues in their tissues or vulnerabilities, we do it very small. Movements are like just, a gentle kind of ringing, more subtle. But when you've had a big scare and huge, intensity that you have confronted, you need to really shake it out much bigger if your joints can handle it, and to use your voice more to actually expel the stress out of through the voice, but also through the lower belly as it comes up through the voice. So I do have a bonus that's going to be offered that helps with that. And you'll see that vigorous shaking where the whole body is getting engaged. And it can be fun, but you end up maybe laughing at some points because you're not used to, doing this childlike, it looks almost like a dance, but it's actually a Qigong technique that everyone uses to help release all that tension and return to that resilient reset that you've given yourself.
Mm. I want to ask a little bit about the mind. So much of Qigong practice is really focused on the body and breath, and yet it
Mm.
also has a great stabilizing and harmonizing effect on the mind. Maybe share a little bit about how you work with the mind in the context of the Wuji Hundun practice.
The mind is the trap, oftentimes. When, again, just in interfacing with something, an event or a person that destabilizes us, let's say that, you can go into their field and be a good partner to them. If they are imposing fear, then you become afraid, and then you lose your control. You lose your stability. So part of this training is displacing the negative self-talk and coming back to that center, because we say that the yi moves the qi. Where the mind goes, the qi flows, the energy flows. So if you go into this parallel universe where you can jump out of that and come into your presence, come into your strength, don't associate with whatever imposition they are, trying to infuse you with. That's the easy one, is fear. And if you aren't afraid and you live in your stability, what happens is that they have nothing to press against.
Hmm.
They have not succeeded in making you afraid. And your practice will bring you back to that stability each time. First, through the breath, the dislodging of the stress, but also the calming of the breath afterwards. And the mindset, which is this understanding of your alignment, your presence being the stability that might even stabilize the other person that is confronting you. Right? So when they feed you fear and you come back with peace, a lot of people don't know what to do with that. Yeah? It's not sticking, it's not attaching. So I often feel that, and you'll see this as a Qigong and a Tai Chi concept, that force against force goes nowhere. You're just pushing and pulling, and you don't have any but a violent result. And that's why peaceful protest, stable lead energy will be the way that you train to become a true spiritual warrior.
Mm. I love that. It's really clear you just emanate this from how you walk and move in the world and really embody this. So, are there other areas? I know you also want to do another practice with us, and we could transition now if there's other things you're wanting to teach about Wuji Hundun that we haven't covered yet. Open to that.
Well, I think that, you know, our opportunity with Wuji Hundun is to clear the emotional stress, chronic stress that often armors around the heart, the lungs, the liver, the kidneys. So this closing movement called Hui, it is a way to return to peace. And the image is of a sunset, and actually means return. So we're returning to the earth, grounded and stable, yeah, resting and peaceful. So I'll share that movement with you now. The hands form a ball of light in the palms, and we open this to the shoulder height on an inhale. Release any stress. And now we drop down, bending and picking up the chi of the earth. We bring the stable energy of the earth back to the heart and lungs. Take a breath here. Deep, gentle, smooth, slow breath through the nose. And exhale. From here, take another inhale. And slowly exhale off the body. Any of the stresses that might have attached, leave it to the earth. Turn up the palms to the sky. Receive the energy from above. And exhale down and back. So I'll do that just once more. Inhale. Earth's energy rises into the palms and feel your own freedom. Inhale the earth's nurturing chi. Crossing, the palms come in, feeding the heart and lungs, balance and harmony. Deep inhale. Long exhale. Next movement. Inhale. Exhale. Draw it off the body, leave it to the earth's magnet to decompose. Lift it up to its highest state, whatever troubles you have. Know that you're not alone. And surround the body with light. At the end, we bring the feet together. Right fist, left open palm. Balance. The openness of compassion, non-threatening, controls and mediates harshness and intensity. And we bow.
Thank you. I was particularly struck by that last gesture, the sort of openness meets the harshness and contains it, or I don't know exactly how you framed it, but it was, I think that was quite a beautiful physicalization of a really important principle you've been teaching here.
Thank you, Stephen. You know, when we use somatic practices to embody the message that we live, it goes in deeper. In that sense, it's very effective. It's, not just breath, but it's also movement. It's also what you think and how you bring all of that together within yourself.
Mhm. When you're practicing Qigong, are you sort of consciously aligning with those principles that you're naming, or is it sort of just become part of the embodiment itself, kind of almost creates the shift in your field of energy?
That's an interesting question. It is both, Stephen. I think that, we need the reminder, the physical reminders, the mental reminders, because one thing that triggers us can set us off. So we do practice and we train regularly, daily, so that we embody those principles. And so the more you do practice, the more you embody it, until it becomes so natural that just with that gesture, your intention is already shown.
Hmm. We've only had a chance to go into two of the movements from Wuji Hundun today. Are there others you want to talk a little bit about just without even demonstrating, just like give a sense for how some of these different movements teach different principles and help us embody them?
Yes, by all means. You didn't see sun rise. It's the first movement, Jiao. And it starts the set. It prepares us to have ascending energy, rising up energy to greet the sun. And so it is a beautiful first movement because we are offering our service to the world from the heart, connected to both earth and sky together, and we as the human in between those great forces, with an attempt to offer compassion and courage outwards. Yeah, so that's the first movement, Jiao. And what happens is that Jiao and Hui, the first and the last movement, are always done. Regardless of how many other movements you do, you'll do that one first and that one last as a bookend to encapsulate the principles that everyone is going to learn. And so it is a really beautiful way to kind of create wholeness, in a sense, with the bookend, the sunrise and the sunset. Yeah. Then we have movements like ro, which is this rolling ball. Yeah, where we're traveling with this ball across space around the body and building energy through that rolling ball with the palms facing each other. And why do the palms face each other? Because they are heart to heart. The pericardium channel, the heart protection channel, is being activated for our self-healing, but later it can be activated for others' healing. So I really enjoy that movement as well. And there are also movements like the Chan movement, which is used for helping digestion. So one of the reasons I think that that's an important movement is because everyone at some point has digestive issues. Now, whether it's digestion of food, and if you're fortunate enough to have healthy or organic food, that's wonderful, but it doesn't guarantee that you can digest even some of the healthy things. So the movement helps to open up the yin channels, the digestive channels, and support not only physical digestion, but the digestion of information that is coming toward you. And when you don't understand something and it's hard to digest, you'll also notice that your stomach also kind of clamps down and doesn't always release the fluids that are needed to help in digestion. So it's a mental and a biological thing happening all at once. Yeah, so, yeah, just a few of the movements and their intentions and how they help to release those tensions.
I love starting to get a glimpse of the layers of depth behind each movement and each practice and how it really, when you weave it together as a whole, it's a very embodied philosophy of how to align with the larger life force and be a powerful healing force in the world. It's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen. Yeah, it's the microcosm and the macrocosm. It's the yin, the yang, the light and the dark, the small and the big. All these forces mixing, and just like the yin yang symbol, within the light is a spot of dark. Yeah, within the dark is a spot of light. And so that's what creates balance. It's not that chaos doesn't exist. It is that within chaos, there is always, at some point, this settling and coming back to this, essential stability that is needed for true growth to happen.
Mm. Well, I think now would be a great time to talk about your upcoming course, which is a really beautiful opportunity to engage these practices of Wuji Hundun Qigong and really cultivate these kind of deeper virtues and embodiment that are so helpful for navigating this collective moment of a lot of strife. So Daisy's agreed to teach this brand new program. You can find it at the URL healingwarriorqigong.com. It's called Wuji Hundun Qigong, a force of healing for spiritual warriors. Balance your yin-yang energies for strength, grace, and emotional resilience. It's a 7-week program. You don't have to have a Qigong background to join, and it's really going to build these key building blocks for you from the ground up. So, Daisy, I'd love for you to share in your own words some of your intentions of what people will come away with from this 5-week program, and then let's go through the modules and go a little deeper into what you'll be teaching.
Thank you, Stephen. I believe this is a 5-week. It's a shorter program, a 5-week program, because I wanted people to be introduced to Wuji Hundun and make it accessible for everyone. And so it's something that anyone can practice. If you have the interest and the desire, to have greater wholeness in your life, greater strength in terms of your courage and sensitivity to be aware of what's going on around you, and yet know how to separate from the chaos, to not merge with it, to have it control you, but to actually bring peace and healing to those around you and for yourself.
Beautiful. So module one is called Restore Balance, Alignment, and Flow through the Sunrise and Sunset movements, Zhao and Hui.
Yes, and that is the two movements I was talking about, the sunrise and the sunset, how we ascend and bring energy to our day. So we start off on the right foot, and how we are able to relax and settle the energy at the end of the day.
Module two, invoke yin and yang balance in tenuous times through relaxed awareness and focused intent with the Ru and Chan movements.
Right, and these are really, they're beautiful movements because they're so rounded and they express and open up the yin channels, but also encapsulate healing within the hands.
Module three, clear blockages, create spaciousness for renewal, and expand your protective Wei Qi field with the Jian and Kun movements.
I think you'll love this, that the Jian movement I shared earlier today, and that's the sword fingers, and it will help your healing down in the future, or up in the future, or around in the future. And also the Kun movement, which is, I call it the gift. And it's because when you do this movement, it looks like you're wrapping up a gift around, and you are wrapping yourself in this beautiful encircling movement on all sides of the body. Yeah, so you're building your Wei Qi field, and you become aware of, oh, my shoulder has a blockage. I notice it from doing this movement, and then you ask it to relax if you have that concern, and you will probably notice that your body starts to relax more each time you make a gentle invitation.
Module four, challenge your perceived limits and press into possibility through the Chai and An movements.
These two movements are very stretchy movements, and they work to expand not just the chi field, but the channels, the physical channels within the body. So you're pressing in many directions, up and down, diagonally. You're stretching also the eye muscles in the An movement. And so what happens is that not only your spinal torquing or turning, but your eyes, your neck, your shoulders, everything is increasing in range of motion. And so those two movements are really fantastic for that.
Module five, the joy of discovery through the Jun movement that grows Qi sensitivity and self-healing capacity to complete the Wuji Hundun short form.
Yes, the Shun movement, I like to call the boomerang movement. And it is this encircling energy on the belt meridian around to the kidneys, and you press out the fear, and then you bring new energy into the opposite side and connect to the earth through that movement. And it's really simple movement in many ways, but it's a really beautiful one because of its intention. And so I don't know if you've ever played with a boomerang, Stephen, when you were young, but what goes out comes back. And so this apparatus that in Australia I played with, it would whip out and then it would come all the way back, and you would see that in life that is also true. Yeah, so not just this physical motion, but just playing with this idea of mentally and emotionally and spiritually, what goes out also comes back, good or bad.
Karma.
We'll go through the whole set after, the all 9 movements of this short form that we're going to be playing with.
Well, I know this is going to be such a blessing for those who choose to join. Again, there's more detail at the URL healingwarriorqigong.com. So, in addition to the 5 90-minute live sessions with Daisy, which have just been described, you'll have time in those sessions to engage in interactive practices together, as well as Q&A time. You'll also get time for recordings of each session, both video and audio, as well as word-for-word transcripts to work with, study, and highlight. There are weekly exercises and practices to do at home and really develop your daily practice, as well as a community group to support you and deepen your experience as well. There'll be some small group time to connect with other participants at the end of each call. And on the page, you'll also see a number of extra bonuses that Daisy has added to enhance the value for you. There's a video teaching from her to cultivate subtle awareness for healing. It's called the Intuitive Medicine Summit Session, The Art of Paying Attention. So the Art of Paying Attention, you want to share more about that session?
That session was with a wonderful host named Lisa Bonis. And in it, there's so many revelations about paying attention and how much of a difference that makes. It is a subtle thing, but when you do pay attention, it goes beyond what's in front of you. There's a 360-degree awareness of this layer of reality and the people around you, the bigger picture in the world, and yet it comes back to you. So it helps in how you interface with what is present in that moment with you. And it was a very interesting conversation. I really enjoyed that time with Lisa.
Well, that's one bonus, and everyone's going to get that bonus. And then there's one bonus that's also available as a special incentive for you to sign up right away by midnight tonight Pacific time. This is Daisy's Wuji warm-up, a video practice from her to awaken and enliven your chi. And you want to share more about today's special bonus?
Yes, the Wuji warm-up is something I do in my practice. It's different. It has some different things thrown in that I do that I don't always teach students because there's a little more rigor in some of it. But it stretches and opens up channels beautifully and also introduces you to a digestive movement that is very helpful for everyone. So I think people will like that.
Well, it's a great extra bonus and a great extra reason to sign up right away. And again, all the details are at healingwarriorqigong.com. It's clearly going to be such a valuable program and really perfectly timed for this collective moment we're in. Daisy always has rave reviews from her students. She's taught many programs at Shift. She's just a very seasoned, very grounded, very stable lead energy for this work. So we've kept the investment very accessible. It's just two payments of $108, or you can save 10% when you pay in full with one payment of $197. The course is going to start on April 22nd and run Wednesdays at 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern. But even if you can't make the live times, you can still get the full value with the recordings, the transcripts, and the community as well. I encourage you to go through some of the testimonials, since there's just so many beautiful testimonials about Daisy's work, her teaching style, her voice, her practices. So you're in really good hands, and I know you will be blessed if you choose to move forward. So again, it's all at healingwarriorqigong.com, healingwarriorqigong.com. So, Daisy, we're nearing the end of our time, and just a final moments of reflection for anything you haven't shared with folks who are considering joining you for this course, and really any insights about moving forward.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen. We are in unprecedented times, and my hope is to share techniques that will be helpful for these times. It's my honor to share this lineage from Master Duan Liang, who lived to 107. And he shared what healing and longevity, balance with morality and compassion is really about. And I hope to share some of these tools with you so that you too can be empowered and bring it into your life on a daily basis. I hope to see you there. Thank you so much. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Daisy. It's about blessing and so centering and calming to be with you and to receive the wisdom of these practices. So thank you so much. And thank you all for joining. And look forward to seeing many of you in Daisy's new program. And again, it's all at healingwarriorqigong.com. The name is Wuji Hundun Qigong, a force of healing for spiritual warriors. And you'll get that special bonus when you sign up by midnight tonight, which is the Daisy's Wuji warm-up. So thank you so much. Many blessings.